Hello again. My next guest is an artist who's changing the hip-hop scene. His collaboration with Maskandi legend Shwi Nomtekhala bridges the gap between young and old. But most importantly, it's his love for South African heritage that keeps fans coming back for more, and it's all encapsulated in his much-anticipated debut album, Thank the King. We're getting to know Bonginkosi Mahlangu, also known to you and I as KiD. This has been quite an interesting journey for you. I want to go way back to when you...
Let me get comfortable.
Get comfortable. You need some coffee? Yeah. Let's go back to when you started. You were signed and then you went independent. That couldn't have been an easy journey.
Definitely not, but I think it happened for a very good reason, because I think during the time when I was signed, obviously there's certain skills that I needed to acquire and learn, and I was signed by people with more experience than me, so I needed to sort of soak that up to prepare me for the journey that I'm traveling now, which is that of an independent artist.
Right.
Yeah.
And what has that journey been like, or what is that journey like?
It's long, it's challenging, it's got its moments, but for me, I think it's a journey that I've learned to embrace, because something doesn't necessarily go the way you've got it mapped out in your head. You sort of have a lot of resentment, a lot of feelings that are not positive, that don't actually serve you during the journey. So for me, I've learned to actually take it for everything that it comes with.
Resentment?
And embrace it. Yeah.
What resentment?
Well, it's situational. You might feel like in certain situations that you put in, that you were sort of, it was designed for you not to flourish, you know what I mean? So that can sort of leave you feeling some type of way.
Bitter, yeah.
Whereas if you actually zoom out and look at the situation from a different view standpoint, you might actually then see something else totally different. So. And
that's what you've managed to do. I mean, you keep reinventing yourself through your music. What influences what you sing about?
My everyday life, actually. Be it what I'm going through personally or what I'm observing around me. Because I sort of soak up my environment, whether I do it consciously or not, you know what I mean? So when I get into studio and maybe I'll find a beat that sort of appeals to something specific, that is what will pour out of me. So I try and keep it as honest and unfiltered as possible when it comes to the music.
Yeah. Your new offering got everybody excited about this collaboration, Shwi Nomtekhala. How did that come about?
Interesting story. I was in Sun City late last year, just wrapping up the album. So we made a few songs. One of them was Muntu, but initially it was just me and Marco on the song. So at the top of the year, we sent it to Shwi Nomtekhala just for the purpose of sample clearance. They heard the song, they enjoyed it, they had like raving reviews. They were like, so for me, that was a surreal moment. It's sort of like I've never dreamt that I'd ever be on a song with Shwi Nomtekhala. When a dream is so far that you're not even conceiving it. So, I mean, for me, I was honored to have worked with people of their stature, of their level of talent, as grounded as, even with all of that, they very abantoba pants, you know what I mean? So for me, it sort of taught me a lot. Like every time I interact with them, I try and really soak up the energy that they have, because they've traveled and they've lost it in the game for so long. So it's important, because that's something that I intend to do as well.
And also, I guess knowing what you're good at, knowing what you do, it's great to explore, but sticking to the true essence of who you are and what you do.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about some of the other songs on the album that you have put together, particularly your favorite jam.
That's an interesting question. So the album has 26 songs on the entire project. You've got a side A, a side B, and that's an entire play on, like, the album is called Thank the King, so the acronym would be TDK. So we went for Ikaset. There's a play on words on that. And it's very tough to actually sit here and give you my favorite song, because as I was driving here, there's a song that appealed to me more than it did yesterday when I played. So I think it's The album is generally a song, like it's got songs for every single situation, every single mood. So every time I play it, I gravitate to a different song. And I think I appreciate that, because you don't sort of hold on to one thing for too long, because, I mean, music also sort of affects us depending on how we're feeling and what we're going through at that specific time. So,
totally. Yeah. What does music mean to you?
Music is the soundtrack to my life experience.
Sure.
The best way to put it, yeah.
Right. Message to fans, message to someone who's meeting you for the very first time in terms of picking up TDK, Yaga, KiD.
Get it. It's the best project to come out of South Africa in 2018. And I'd even go as far as saying in a long time, but I think that will only be proven after a few years, once the album has been in the market for a while and people sort of really hear it for what it is. For me personally, I've been making the album for, like, actively for the past 3 years. So I've sat with the music and I've literally lived with the music for that long. So I know it's not, as much as we live in an era where things are really like fast food, 2-minute noodle music, you know what I mean?
Ready now.
You know what I mean? I feel like this album is here to survive that era and outlast a lot of the music that's coming out now.
That's an interesting outlook. When you look at the industry in general, whether it's in South Africa, internationally, people have the perception that when you're the best-selling artist, you are the best at what you do. Your thoughts on that?
I think it has a lot to do with things like marketing, you know what I mean? Sometimes you could put out the best product, but then there's so many other things that you have to do on the back end to sort of get it to the people and make sure that it's heard by as many people as possible. So that's the battle that we're fighting now, or that's the journey that we're traveling now, just in terms of making sure that in terms of the singles that we put out, we sort of string the narrative along in a way that's going to keep people engaged and going to draw in more people who would then maybe get to a point where they actual like hardcore KiD fans and can recommend KiD to the next person, and then that will generally like grow the fan base and we'd have like more people buying the music.
Yeah. Unyaka uyaphela, when you reflect on the year that has been, what are you most grateful for?
I'll be honest, my album finally dropping. It's been a very long journey actually, in terms of me having wanted to drop the album for, so the previous project I dropped was in 2015, right? And in my head, or intent wise, when I turned that project in, that was meant to be my debut album. So now that entire obviously story played out different. It ended up being a mixtape. It ended up being nominated at the Summers among albums, which left me feeling like, actually, what is actually going on? You know what I mean?
Well, confused.
Yeah, so now we've got, obviously, that entire album thing chasing me around for the past 3 years, where people are like, are you ever going to drop an album? You know what I mean? So it took 3 years to come around, and I sort of then understand why it took so long. In hindsight, when I look at the journey that I've traveled, I think I'm more ready now for an album journey and for everything that it's meant to do. I think I'm better prepared now than I was then.
Okay, Sarah. Thank you very much, Bonginkosi, for
Thank
coming
you
through
for
to chat
having
to
me.
us. All the best with your album.